Somebody said it was snowing on a buck's back this morning.
But I dropped it.
Save your last breath, 'cause you don't need it. Devil's gonna grab what he pleases. Your time has come.
Back in 2021, Joey and I purchased a property. We wanted to put some food plots in and see if we could grow this property to harvest some nice mature bucks here in Vermont. We spent a couple years putting in food plots and setting up blinds and stands on this property. So come fall of 2022, we had 3 nice buck coming onto the property that we were getting on camera. October 9th, 2022 comes and we have a nice cold snap. So we make our way to the property. Heading out to the blind, we get to the base of the ladder and notice there is a field full of deer. So obviously we have to take our time getting into the blind. We don't want to booger any of the deer out of the field. I get my crossbow loaded.
Those fawns are so cute. They still have their spots. We've got 7 deer out in the field right now.
Sitting in the blind, we're watching all these deer in the field. Really helps to have the time pass rather than not having anything in front of you. So at that point we have a bunch of fawns that are playing around and we're just enjoying this hunt. The sun starts to set, it's a beautiful night, and then all of a sudden the camera dies. So we're sitting there thinking, okay, if something happens tonight, we're not gonna get it on camera, but hopefully something happens anyway. So as we sit there and the sun is setting, we're just chilling, waiting for something to walk out, I hear a cough. And I'm looking around, I look at Joey and I was like, did you hear that? And he was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a deer. And I was like, it kind of sounded like a human cough to me. And he was like, no, it's gotta be a deer. So we're sitting, waiting very patiently. A lot of time passes. I mean, maybe it seems like a lot of time because we're just anticipating a buck walking out. And wouldn't you know, a buck walks out from the northwest side of the property. And Joey and I are like nudging each other, being like, okay, let's get ready, it's go time, let's do this. And as this buck starts approaching us, another buck starts coming out right behind this buck. So we're like all excited, we're like, oh, here comes 2 bucks. And then a third one follows. So these bucks are walking out single file out of the woods. As soon as they hit the food plot, all 3 of them, the vision I have of these deer walking across the field is like a whole militia of men in the military just going after their target, and they're on a mission. So guys, these deer walking out of the woods the way that they did and approaching me is like 3 babes walking out of the ocean in bikinis, the way that you would envision that. So I've got these deer that are all walking right toward me. And I'm just hoping, because the sun is setting and we're losing daylight, I'm hoping that one of these bucks is going to walk close enough that I get a shot. You know, we've had these bucks on camera all summer long. We've anticipated one of these bucks is over 200 pounds. And sure enough, as they walk in, there is an 8-point, smaller rack than the other deer, but he looks to be a heavy hitter, and we we're thinking, okay, this is the deer, or I was thinking, this is the deer that I'm going to take if he gives me a shot, because he is the most mature deer, and you know, even though his horns aren't as big as the others, I'm going for the meat. The two younger bucks start pushing these doe around, and the older, smaller antlered 8-pointer ends up making a turn to the south and starts walking right toward the blind. This mature 8-point walks broadside right in front of the blind at 47 yards. And at this point, it's now or never. So I take the shot. The deer jumps and runs. And I see the direction that he takes off. But it's getting dark, so I can't see how far he goes over these beans. Joey and I are discussing the shot, and to him it sounded like the shot was a little further back and it made a thunk noise rather than a smash. We got out of the blind. We went to see if we could find my arrow, which we found. Looked at that point like it was a gut shot. At that point, we made the call to strip off all of our clothes down to our base layers, and we were going to strategically leave all of our clothes in a half moon shape all around where we thought this deer laid down. The point of taking our clothes off and leaving them in the half moon shape around this deer is to deter any coyotes. So we wanted, in the direction that the wind is blowing toward this pack of coyotes that were lighting up all around us, the wind would catch our scent, hopefully overpower the deer scent, and deter the coyotes from even coming in that direction. As we're leaving the property, we're still leaving pieces of our clothing all around. And as we get to the vehicle, we notice that we have one of the dog's blankets in the back seat. So we take this blanket out and we walk around to the other side of the property, which, as a crow flies, it's probably 200 yards from where the deer would have possibly been laying. And we left this dog blanket hanging in a tree to also have not just our scent, but our dog's scent. At this point, the anticipation is killing us because we're hoping that this deer is laying there. But we don't even look for blood after we find my arrow because we just don't want to push this deer around. So we go home.
All right, so we're back here Monday morning to try to see if we can find my deer. I think the shot was a little far back on the deer, so we backed out and decided not to push him in case it was a little further back than we wanted. So we're gonna go in and look for him now and see if we can find him. So we didn't want to push the deer out in case it wasn't as good of a shot as we wanted, and so we just thought we'd back out. And so once it was pitch black, we got out of the stand and we shed all of our layers, and we started just putting layers up everywhere in a half moon around the deer, probably for a quarter, half mile. And we were just hoping that would ward off the coyotes and just allow this guy to die peacefully overnight. And so we came back this morning and we looked for him, and he is right where he laid down last night when we last saw him. So he didn't go far, and the coyotes never bothered him. So our plan worked, and we found him. I definitely couldn't do this if I was by myself. Not that strong.
We finally get this deer home and hang it on the game pole and weigh this massive deer. which weighs in at 213 pounds. I couldn't have been any more excited because this was my first 200-pound deer. Here's my beautiful 213-pound 8-point buck. I felt like it was appropriate to give this deer a gold-dipped skull to make it look just like armor. So here we are. Over the summer, when we're at the property and we're putting in the food plots, this is a whole family affair. This just isn't about me or Joey and the hunt and getting a mature deer. It's about the whole family. Our son Cash loves anything to do with dirt and tractors. And so when we're putting in these food plots, we've got Beepa, Uncle Chris, Poppy, Mima, myself and Joey, we're all there, and Cash especially is riding the tractor nonstop. He's having a blast. And so building these food plots and the entire hunt is more about spending time with family, which is something that you can never get back. When it comes to the hunt, the beautiful thing is that Joey and I actually got to have this experience together with, one, being able to reap the rewards of our efforts with this property, but two, being able to harvest my first 200-pound deer, and three, being able to spend the time together, because we don't get that much time together now that we have a 3.5-year-old. And we especially don't have that much time to hunt together. So this hunt is especially special because of that. And this year, I hope we have more opportunities to have more time hunting together.